Hey everybody, time for a quick little vlog. Something I feel the need to talk about. So, as we all know, game reviewing. Let's talk a little bit about that as briefly as I possibly can. So, I've fallen into a little bit of a funk lately in trying to do some of my game reviews, i.e. for Indie Zombie or anything else that I might be trying to do or trying to work on. And I was trying to put together a quick little game review for one of the games off of Indie Zombie that I had played for quite a while, and I don't want to give away too much. What the hell? The game is called Dark Quest, and basically it's a single-player video game version of the board game Hero Quest. Which was a game that I grew up with as a child. Basically, it's a very dumbed-down version of Dungeons and Dragons. It's up to a 5-player game where you have your dungeon master, and then you have 4 other players who can assume the roles of 4 characters: the barbarian, dwarf, elf, and wizard. And they all have varying different abilities and strengths and weaknesses and such. And Dark Quest is basically it's a limited version of Hero Quest, only this time it's a single-player game, which is a bit of a negative, and this time there's only the 3 characters. There's the barbarian, the dwarf, and the wizard. They do so retain a lot of their abilities. And the thing was that when I was recording review footage for it, I had played the game for about an hour, but to be fair, before going into the review, I had already played the game for probably quite a few hours. And I am enjoying it, and had kind of written it off as, as pretty much a single-player, dumbed-down version of Hero Quest. Kind of dumbed down. I mean, there is still quite a bit of strategy involved. And as I've been playing more of it, because for a while I was kind of the opinion that all the quests all just tend to stay the same, go into the dungeon and kill all the bad guys, which is pretty much what the quote-unquote quest giver in the village tells you to do. But then at one point the game kind of throws a wrench in where something actually changes and they take something from the game, and also the thing was I tried doing a Let's Play of this with my buddies Brett and Reed, but the recording didn't really end up going too well, so it ended up having to be scrapped. What I think I will just end up doing is I'll probably just do a 2-part solo Let's Play myself. And this kind of brings me to the whole review games thing, because I had asked a question a long time ago to Ray Select about when it comes to reviewing a game, do you really have to play the whole thing? And I mean from beginning to end. And part of the thing was that, can you really review a game, especially if you are not enjoying it? Well, I think in some cases you can. I mean, if you're not enjoying it and you've been playing the game for several hours, you haven't beaten it though, but you've played a good amount of it, is that really enough of an opinion for you to give on it? I would say yes, if you played a good amount of it, if you played at least the game for several hours. And I'd say that's good, but I'm not sure if that could qualify as a full review, obviously. And I don't really even know exactly how long this game really is, or for how long it actually goes on. Obviously, I have to imagine there is an ending. I mean, all games usually have an ending. Unless if they're an Atari game and they just continue to go on and on and on. But, and the thing about my reviews is that whenever I obviously pick a game that I'm going to talk about, do a video on, for the most part, for a lot of my reviews, I just try to be honest. Sure, a lot of the time, I'm not an expert. I haven't done a lot of research. I will try to do a little bit of research on whatever it is that I'm talking about. But for the most part, I just try to give it from my opinion, based on how much of it I've played and how much of it I've learned and know about how to actually do a game review. And I try to talk about, I guess, I try to be objective, but for the most part, I just try to be honest. Like, did I enjoy this? Was I liking everything that I was seeing or playing or experiencing? And would I recommend this as a game to people who may be of the same mindset and who might maybe enjoy this? And that's pretty much the gist of it. But also, for the most part, I always try to be honest about how much of the game I've played, and try to show as much of the game as I can. It's a bit of a shame, though, too, when you get into a game that you have played and you have recorded, and maybe something gets lost in the recording, so you can't show everything. That's the part that I hate. And that's always the part about trying to do this sort of thing that becomes a huge pain. I'm sorry if I sound tired or exhausted. I kind of am. It's the new beginning of the work week, and I feel so damn fried. And the sad thing is I haven't really even done that much either, aside from working and just putting off working on a few of my other videos. But yeah, I'm gonna try and work on a few of these reviews. I'm gonna try and work on a few other Let's Plays, and hopefully a few other ideas that I have coming after I get some cover art back from my buddy Quick Kick. But yeah, because the thing about, I guess, most game reviewers is that there is always a thing where more especially if you're talking about the story of said game, it is obviously important that you play the whole thing. That way you can give a general gist of everything that you've experienced. And I mean everything. So that you can give a real review about, hey, I played this whole thing, I think it's pretty good. And for the most part, I don't like giving away, I guess, my thoughts, just in a blog, but I do think it's a pretty good game. But part of the problem is that the real fun that comes from a game like Hero Quest is that you're playing it with a bunch of your friends. And you can't play Dark Quest with a bunch of your friends. Sure, they can sit and watch, but they can't interact with the actual game itself. So, that's a pretty big negative. But anyway, yeah, this has just been a very, very, very brief little thing that I just wanted to talk about briefly. So, when it comes to game reviews, I do try to be thorough. But if a game just proves to be too hard or just too difficult to try to beat, that's obviously where trying to review it becomes a bit of an issue. But anyway, we'll see you guys next time.